fear is excitement without the breath. Now, I just love this quote. Let me say it again. Fear is excitement without the breath. Now, often when I'm talking to clients, we are talking about the power we have to jump tracks. It's as if anxiety and excitement run on parallel tracks inside of our bodies, inside of our minds. If we grew up with a lot of chaos or stress or dysfunction around us as children, we may have learned to be in fear, in anxiety, as an almost default, which is really, really unfortunate. What if we allow ourselves to jump tracks, to jump off of that anxious, fear-based track and onto an excitement track? Do you see how that works? Let's take a breath together. Remember to find Emotional Badass wherever you get your podcasts. You help us grow when you hit that subscribe and follow button and get more videos like this in your feed. Hello, welcome to the show. This is Emotional Badass, where Moxie meets mindful. I'm your host, Nikki Eisenhauer, life coach and psychotherapist. And on today's episode, we're discussing simplicity in breath, and we're considering the rose. I've pulled some quotes together today for us to discuss breath. It's such a big, important part of our calm, our peace, our regulation of mind and body. So this is one of my favorites, and actually I highlight him more in the Patreon exclusive episode this month. Fritz Perls is a great influence of mine. He's a counseling theorist, a father of psychotherapy. He says, fear is excitement without the breath. Now, I just love this quote. Let me say it again. Fear is excitement without the breath. Now, often when I'm talking to clients, we are talking about the power we have to jump tracks. It's as if anxiety and excitement run on parallel tracks inside of our bodies, inside of our minds. If we grew up with a lot of chaos or stress or dysfunction around us as children, we may have learned to be in fear, in anxiety, as an almost default, which is really, really unfortunate. A lot of healing is about changing this default into fear, this default into anxiety. And if this is our default, it was for me for many years, it means my little body had to get way too familiar with fear for extended periods of time for it to become my default. Fear is excitement without the breath. What if we allow ourselves to jump tracks, to jump off of that anxious, fear-based track and onto an excitement track? I'm excited. Do you see how that works? Let's take a breath together. What a permission in the body to allow yourself to practice excitement instead of this old pattern of constant fear. Fear is excitement without the breath. Bring in more breath to help yourself jump tracks so that you can feel more excitement about this life than fear. All right, here's a quote from Professor Ramchandra Gandhi. Your breath is your best friend. Now, I do what I call corrective counseling a lot. I don't typically say that out loud because people in my field don't necessarily appreciate that. But there's a lot in the field of mental health that I don't think really serves us very well. We're so heady in traditional talk therapy. We talk about things. We talk and process. And sometimes some people get stuck in the talk therapy process without moving forward. Breath is very important, and not every mental health practitioner has gone on their own journey to make breath their own best friend. Now, I'm a trained yoga teacher. In fact, when COVID hit, I was getting an advanced yoga training that stopped halfway, and I have chosen not to continue that. I practiced yoga when I first found it 3 to 6 times a week. And I couldn't pair a breath with my body when the teacher would cue it for 3 years. It took me about another 3 years, so a full 6 years of a very strong yoga practice before my body would coordinate a movement like raising my arms over my head with an inhalation. That's how long it took me to make breath my friend. Too much trauma, too much stress, especially in a developing body and brain and developing personality, a developing human being. It's very shallow. It's in the top of our chest. And that's by design, because if you start chasing me with a hammer, my blood is going to start to pump and my breath is going to get very shallow so that I can run or fight you. It gets a lot of little breath in at the top of the chest. When we breathe deeply, it's very, very different. And it's signaling to our bodies, hey, there's no stressor here. There's no fear response. There's no action like fighting for my life or running away that this body is about to have to enter. So in healing and self-development, in feeling more grounded, you don't have to have trauma to be living through this world and recognize, ooh, I want breath to be my best friend. Because despite whatever happens external to me, despite whatever politics tries to get our goat and make us angry and reactive, despite whatever messages try to make us feel victim-y or frightened all the time or like the sky is about to fall, what we have at every moment beyond any other tool is a best friend right there with us the moment we say, take a breath. It's such an easy, simple thing. I mean, we are born into this world, every single one of us. And the very first thing we do is we take a breath. To allow yourself to befriend your breath and not let it be some simple, easy, nonchalant throwaway, like, oh, yeah, I know I should probably take a deep breath, and just continue to breathe in that shallow way that keeps your body in activation, keeps you on guard, keeps your system thinking, ooh, this hypervigilance, yeah, this is the smartest we could be, when that's wrong. The smartest we could be for ourselves is to use our smarts, not to be hypervigilant, but to befriend the breath. Your breath is your best friend. Now, with any friendship, we're not just friends and then we are forever. Friendships take work. They take effort. They take intention. They take time. We have to spend time together with our best friend, or they're not our best friend. So to befriend your breath, you can't just stay in idea land in your mind. You have to actually spend time breathing and breathing differently. Here's another from Paul Bragg. Shallow breathers poison themselves. Well, those are 4 powerful words, aren't they? It always strikes me when I see this quote. It even makes me a little sad and makes me empathetic for my inner child. Because for so long, I tried to live. I tried to look like I was thriving while I was poisoning myself with shallow breath. But I had no idea. I had no concept that I had the power to stop poisoning myself by breathing in this activated nervous system is engaged and ready to fight or fly way. Shallow breathers poison themselves. So breathe more deeply. Befriend that breath, deepen that breath to hold yourself instead of to poison. Here's another from one of my favorites. I've done a few episodes over the years highlighting Thich Nhat Hanh. We celebrated his death with a tribute episode going through some of his quotes. Thich Nhat Hanh said, "Feelings come and go like clouds in a windy sky. Conscious breath is my anchor." The real kicker here, y'all, is that the smarter you are, the more thoughts you have, which means your sky is often very, very cloudy with thoughts. Whereas somebody, frankly, with less intelligence might be sitting next to me with a cloud-free sky, just enjoying the air, enjoying the atmosphere. If we have cloudy skies because we have the intelligence to have a whole lot of thought, conscious breathing is our anchor. I don't want to spend my days and spend my life looking at that cloud-filled sky going, is it going to hail? Is it going to snow? Is it going to lightning? Is it going to thunder? How windy is it going to get? Do I need to go inside? Do I need an umbrella? Do I need rain gear? The combination of anxiety and intelligence makes for a very cloudy sky. Instead of feeling stressed by that, which is just the development of another cloud, let's work with that. Let's own it. I constantly say to my clientele, hey, you gotta be smarter than your smarts here. And if our smarts are just creating all these clouds building into a storm, how do we combat that? Well, we don't want to dumb ourselves down. We don't want to not think and not make connections. That's not exactly the answer or the way. And when we're smart, we like to complicate things. So we simplify and we own this dynamic. We own ourselves. We guide our emotion. We guide our mood. We guide our lifelong satisfaction, actually, when we make the decision to breathe as an anchor. Feelings come and go like clouds in a windy sky. Conscious breathing is my anchor. So often an anxious person will go, what am I supposed to do? What do I do? What do I do? I need to figure this out. Yeah, of course we do in life. But more often than not, and I don't want you to trust me here, I want you to test this out, experiment, come to your own conclusions. But my belief is more often than not, what the given moment right now probably needs is a breath like an anchor. Because so often we just don't have enough information. It needs to unfold more to be able to make a decision. So what do we do in the meantime? We need to not practice stressing ourselves out. We need to not practice creating stormy skies. We can clear that sky with conscious breath. I'm probably going to butcher this name, Chuang Lang Al Huan. The last name is A-L, 2 words, H-U-A-N, if you're interested in looking this person up. True breathing is like a flower blooming. If we hold our breath, the bud never opens. I love this quote. And I want to work with the imagery of the bud blooming right now with you in this moment. When people have asked me over the years, how are you a trauma therapist on top of everything that's happened in your life? How do you handle it? Isn't it a downer? Doesn't it depress you? Isn't it so heavy? Maybe the best response I've ever been able to come up with, and with the most truth and honesty, is that no, it isn't like that at all. I very much understand those assumptions. But the truth, at least for me, it might feel different to a different practitioner. But the truth for me in being a trauma therapist for almost 20 years is that it is honestly like watching people bloom right in front of me. And sometimes both of us are delightfully surprised at what blooms. Sometimes we might be expecting, without even realizing it, a delicate pink or white rose to emerge, when all of a sudden what emerges out of this budding is a beautiful, vibrant red, or an orange that is so bright, so astonishing that nature can do that, can make that. Sometimes a beautiful rose emerges bright yellow center, multicolored roses. It has been a gift to my life, not a stressor. It has been a beauty to my life despite some of the thorns. True breathing is like a flower blooming. If we hold our breath, the bud never opens. Take in that quote. I'm going to say it one more time. True breathing is like a flower blooming. If we hold our breath, the bud never opens. Now I'm going to invite you to breathe with me. We don't even have to think about it like a meditation. It's something we have done since the moment we were born, and it's something we will do to the very last moments of our human lives. As long as you're not driving and you can join me safely, please close your eyes. Hands can be placed on the thighs. You can be seated or standing. Especially if you have chronic pain, you can be lying down in any position that feels right to your body. I'm going to speak as if we're seated. Breathe in simply as you normally would. Don't try to change anything about your breath just yet. Just observe it. Watch it. Notice it. And notice what you notice. Continue to breathe in and out, noticing. If I am stressed, annoyed, on edge, if I'm hypervigilant in any way because it's crept into my being, I feel tight like a rosebud as I breathe. Maybe you feel that right now in this moment. Maybe you felt that in moments before in your life. As you continue to breathe normally, no change, in and out, your way, trusting that it's the right way for now. It's a good way to get air and breath into your body. Visualize your lungs as a tight rosebud. Notice how it feels to breathe into that tight rosebud. Tightly packed, constricted, bound, wound tightly. Feel what happens to your body to breathe through this constriction, to breathe through this binding tightness that stress does to our bodies and to our breathing. At the top of your next inhalation, begin to see that tight rosebud begin to bloom. See the outer petals peeling back, beginning to open. Opening with each inhale, fluttering and expanding with each exhale. Inhale, the petals peeling back, opening, softening, letting go of that tightness, that restriction. Budding and blooming. Feel that bloom. Feel each breath get easier, more expansive, more open, just like the rosebud. Inhale into that newfound openness, that softening. Unwound. Inhaling into that spaciousness. Exhaling with the softness of each petal. With your next inhalation, see more and more petals opening. Your lungs, your breath, your rosebud, blooming naturally with ease. Feel your breath inhaling at your pace and exhaling at your pace. Letting my voice be a guide, not a requirement. Inhaling fully, deeply. Exhaling fully and deeply. Softening with each breath. Softening the eyes. Softening the jaw. Softening at the back of the neck, letting go of any tension in the shoulders. Sitting tall, clavicles spread wide, expanding as your breath blooms. Feel your lungs softening with expansion, opening like the bud blooming, finding more freedom with each breath. Finding more softness with each inhale and exhale. Breathe into this spaciousness, this open, blooming flower that you are. On your next inhalation, place the hands on either side of your rib cage. Very similar to how we might put our hands on our hips in a sassy posture. Lifting the hands, raising them from hips to rib cage. If you've never held yourself so, let it be new. Let it be different if it feels different. If it feels awkward, allow it to be. It's okay for new things to feel awkward. In fact, there's no way around it. It is right. It is safe to feel awkward as we try new things towards blooming and breathing. Inhale and spread the rib cage in your next in-breath. Spread your rib cage north, south, east, and west to the four corners of the earth in every direction. And exhale all of the air out of your lungs. Keep your hands on your rib cage as you explore this new way to feel your breath. From the inside out and from the outside in, through your fingertips, through your palms. Inhale again deeply, fully, expanding just like the rosebud, blooming, big, open, and spacious. Inhale again, fully blooming your body, blooming your breath, blooming into your life, into your experience, into your life path, into your purpose. Inhale fully and exhale with ease, like wind moving through the petals of a bloomed open flower. Expand to create spaciousness. Feel the air flowing through each and every opening petal as breath moves into your body and out, just as the wind blows. Keep breathing until your flower fully blooms, opening fully. Opening in your chest. Full, open, blooming, vibrant flower. Full, expansive breaths into your body, into your chest. Oxygenating your bloodstream. Nurturing your tissues, loving your body through breath. In your next inhalation, smile. Smile big informing your insides that happiness is allowed. Smile as if you are smelling a big, fully opened rose. Exhale at your own pace. 3 more rounds of breath here. Inhaling with fullness, petals open wide. Exhaling, letting everything go. Inhaling, full open petals, full flower, taking up space. Exhaling, letting everything go. For this last breath, inhale fully through the nose and exhale out of the mouth with some sound. Come back to a normal breath. In and out. How does this feel to be a rose in full bloom today? What color are you as a rose? Were you surprised at what color rose bloomed in you today? Notice what you notice about your body. Notice what you notice about your mood, about your energy. Is it similar or different now than before we started? Flutter your eyes open slowly, coming back to this space, back to your day. I want you to know that life really can be like a blooming bud. You can bloom with your breath. You can bloom in your mornings. You can bloom in your life. Sometimes looking at a tight little bud, just all wound up, so tight, so hard, it can seem impossible that it would ever bloom and open and expand into those silky petals. Every flower has been nurtured by nature, and it is a part of nature. It's been nurtured by its very roots that reach down into the earth to feed not just the flower, but the bees, the hummingbirds, all the little critters that don't just drink from the open flower, but find shade and shelter, protection in the rose bush. This is an important cog in the wheel of nature, of natural life. What if you allow yourself to connect to this idea that you are like the rosebud? And whenever you feel too tight, too wound up, too hard for this life or to take a breath, I hope you hear me in your ear reminding you that you are just as natural and just as needed in the world. I bet sometimes the little flower doesn't know that either. To the bee or the hummingbird, that open flower is everything, is life, is nurture, is sustenance, is protection. So give yourself permission to bloom, especially in the moments you feel the most restricted, the most constricted. Bloom for your own one precious life, and bloom for the human form, bees and birds who will come to cross your path that you don't even know yet. You have a lot of love to give, and a lot of love to receive. So bloom. Sweet girl and sweet boy, sweet inner children in all of us. It is the natural order of things to not stay so constricted, isn't it? If you liked this exercise, you are invited to join the next group that moves through the course, Emotional Strength Training, 30 Days to Peace. This course, it's for people who want to blossom and are willing to give just a few minutes a day for 1 month of your life to practice peace. To grow into the subconscious, getting these messages, like to bloom, to breathe, to let the sky be less cloudy and clearer. I love helping people grow. I love helping them heal. I love helping them evolve. To people who think my work is heavy because I work with the worst of the worst trauma, no, it's not. And believe it or not, you can work on yourself in ways that are not all crying and dying and pain. I get to witness people bloom like flowers. And it is my wish that you give yourself the proper conditions so that you can bloom and become your fullest, most open flower. Thank y'all for letting me share in my unique way with you. I appreciate it so much. I am an emotional badass. You are an emotional badass. And together, we are where Moxie meets mindful. Light and love. Take care of yourselves. Breathe and bloom. And I'll see you in the Patreon for a Fritz Pearls episode, or I'll see you right here next time. Light and love. Bye-bye.